like when it's too hot, our roads melt. So like all your tires and your shoes and stuff will melt. So yeah.
That's okay. Yeah,
like
again,
50 degrees, right? Like 100% humidity, 50 degrees. Like it's hot.
Melting shoes, but like then again, I can't imagine that somehow. All right. All right.
Saying that on a slightly related but not completely unrelated thing, I forgot to. I think I might have mentioned this before, but not to Ebony directly. Do you know of the kind of solar car race that happens across Australia? I think it's every few. Yeah, the madness sometimes, and it won't be even at a good time of year, and just the winds, and you'll just see these cars just like blow off the road. And it's just like, well,
that's me. It's like looks completely flat, and you can't always tell that it's windy because of like how flat some of it is until you see something that's like solid, and it just gets completely blown. It's pretty crazy. But it's like, yeah, dead hot always for those ones.
Oh, he died.
Oh
no, he's back.
Oh, he's back. He lives. You're kind of dead, maybe?
You never know.
Yeah,
yeah. I think so.
So, Corey, do you would you like Eb's thoughts? Or do all the ones kind of sum it up?
Yeah, that's a pretty clear message.
I just don't. I remember the first time I watched it thinking it was just so boring that I had to turn it off because I just couldn't. I would happily never see Scarlett Johansson's face ever again after seeing so many shots of her with the same like dead expression just over and over and over again in like the same thing. I don't know, I just thought the whole thing,
I don't want to do that.
Even like outside of like the premise, I just couldn't get over like all the repeating the same stuff happening over and over again without any new information coming into light each time. Like usually with things like that, you get like little inklings that build up to something, but you don't really, other than just her. Yeah, I don't know, because if the purpose is to collect guys to melt down into puddles, then I think it's like a really ineffective way to just drive around aimlessly and hope that you can pick someone up. I was saying to Alec, I was like, surely they've done enough research before coming to Earth or whatever to know that 1, they specifically need men, 2, they specifically need someone who's attractive to be able to pick up men, and 3, like enough information about like society to know that she can drive a car around and it be okay. Because I was saying like there's plenty of societies where like, you know, women aren't allowed to drive and stuff. So obviously they've done enough research into it, and yet they never just thought to make her like a prostitute or something, or like just let her hang out in nightclubs so she could pick up lots of men. Like, is there a quota for how many men she's supposed to blubberize, or like I don't know, it just all seemed very pointless and all the shots were very boring and I just hated it. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I like, for what I get disliking something so much that it's hard to see what good there is in it. I get that. So, and I did get the whole, you know, all black scene and them going into the black liquid. That got a little repetitive, and I do get that. Like, I do wish that they gave us more. Like we talked about in the call for it, like a couple of us did wish that they gave us a little bit more to like chew on, you know. But yeah, we all have different tastes, and clearly.
Yeah. Even if they gave us stuff that was still super vague, but I feel like she didn't really build up enough, because like Alec was saying, like she like pities the guy with the face, and that's why she ends up like running away from the motorcycle guys and like all that kind of stuff. Like, but it doesn't build up into anything where she seems like she's learned enough about society to have a reason to pity him, to have any reason to feel something other than what she's feeling. Because what he said, that people are ignorant, and he seemed nervous about like touching her and being around her. As far as I know, building up to that, she's not had enough experience to understand why that should make her feel any different from like the people that just weren't interested, that she didn't pick up. You know what I mean? Like, so just a little bit more of seeing society so she can understand a bit more, like even just talking to different kinds of people and stuff like that, instead of just only men, or like, you know what I mean? Like, she had the same conversation over and over again, and then this one made her completely change her life. For what reason other than he was nervous and different?
Well, like we did, since she's an alien, we don't really know how fast they process things. For like,
Yeah.
And they didn't.
You know what I mean? Like, giving that information is something that, because even though it doesn't really, I understand like the ambiguity of having not a lot of information, so you can kind of infer it yourself, or so it is like a bit of a mystery. But just those little hints of letting us know that she does understand something, so she doesn't go from like a really consistent, this is what's happening, to all of a sudden changing everything with one interaction. Like, that seemed just very bizarre. Also, again, it's just very ineffective to drive around aimlessly picking up random dudes in Scotland, of all places.
I definitely got the sense that, you know, she had this, like, she's like in effect like programmed, right? She had this like routine. And I did get the sense like she didn't know a whole lot. Like, remember when she was surrounded by those like hooligan guys, and they're all shaking the van, and she didn't register exactly what like her situation was. Like, you find
I understand that she doesn't.
You find out later in the film that she is vulnerable. She can be attacked and hurt. And but she doesn't, it doesn't, in that scene you realize that she doesn't know exactly how much danger she's in, and she doesn't know what to do. Like, she does have eventually get the sense to like drive away, but when she's just sitting there and she's like just looking around her, like kind of clueless. I like she yeah, in the beginning of the film she definitely isn't fully aware of her surroundings or what her situation is. So yeah,
but I understand that she doesn't know what's going on, but however she got there, obviously someone's done enough research on Earth to put her there in the first place. You know what I mean? So I question why they gave her that directive to drive around aimlessly and pick up people. And in Scotland, like, surely you'd pick somewhere that was high traffic for hitchhikers, a bit warmer maybe, so people were more comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, something that would initiate her being able to pick up more people to achieve her objective.
Did you see
putting her specifically in Scotland?
She had to have people alone. Like, I get why, like, like a cold, depressing country would be a good.
But even then, you've got
themselves.
Yeah, but even then, you've got like Scotland. I wouldn't say is massive for, you know, people being alone. Like, it's a very, like, a lot of groups of people and a lot of like kids and families and stuff like that, where you've got places like, I don't know, like Romania, where there's like isolated pieces where people are like very cold and alone and will wander around quite often.
See, like, I think what I was getting at when she wasn't very well prepared is that they as a group didn't do a whole lot of research, I would guess. And I don't, like, that doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, yeah, like, we could like assume that aliens are like superior intelligence to us or something like that, but yeah, that in itself, like, it wouldn't surprise me if the race didn't have it all together, you know? We've done such a shit job.
Yeah.
So.
I just think it's odd that they know all the mechanics of like riding motorbikes, all the road rules, like things like that, enough to know. You know what I mean? Like, it's odd the things that they do know and the things they don't know. If they were completely clueless and learning it all from base level, I could understand, but they're obviously going in with a certain amount of knowledge, but none of that knowledge seems to really be helping the objective, which is blubberizing random males. For what purpose, we have no idea.
I like put a guess that they were like using, like, they had the suits on, right? Like, that's what I thought, they were like harvesting suits for them to wear so that they could hide amongst the humans.
I guess so, but they seemed fine to just, well, because there was, however she got her clothes, they just had a random dead woman on the side of the road that they picked up.
Remember the end where she took off her skin suit? Like that's what they look like
Yeah.
underneath. So they can't go on Earth like that because they'd stick out.
Yeah.
Badly. Yeah.
Okay. Just the skin.
Yeah. The skin.
I'm interested to see that because obviously you see that guy, all his organs just disappear and he's just skin floating around.
Yeah.
He's very much just a thin layer of skin, but when her skin gets peeled off, like the face is still blinking, it's still very much filled out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very thick, whereas the one floating around in the water is like a very thin sheet of unalive skin.
Maybe there's something, see, and there's so much they don't show us, so like it's anyone's guess like what they do after the skin. But remember in one of the black room scenes they show, and we'll wrap this up, guys. I know you've all been in for the call before. But yeah, so one of the black room scenes, there's one of the aliens, just the black, they're in their original form, and they're standing there, presumably, I guess, waiting for their new skin, right? So that's kind of what
makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks, for watching it and scoring it.
I'm so sorry I tanked your scores.
It's okay. I knew that was a hazard, but I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
It's all right.
Okay, well, now you've had a big talk. Why'd you pick Four Rooms?
Because I think it's a really interesting film. I think the first time I got shown it, I wasn't told that it was 4 directors and each room was like a different thing. So I had no idea, like, kind of what I was going into. And I watched the first room and I was like, right, this is dead bizarre. And then the second room felt different, but I was like, okay. As soon as we got to the third room, I think I clocked that it was like very different altogether. And then as soon as I got to the fourth one, I guessed that it was obviously Tarantino directed. And then I was like, there's no way Tarantino directed this whole thing. And then I got like explained the premise of how it came together. And I just thought it was a really interesting concept to have 4 completely different, I guess, films in one, all connected by one actor that also manages to kind of change his acting style depending on who's directing as well. So I just thought it was a really unique thing for you guys to watch. And it's fun.
Yeah, Robert always talked to me about it. He seems to have a memory of us watching it together, but I'm sure that you showed it to me first. But yeah, really interesting film. It doesn't. It's very quite clunky in the beginning, but God, I've never like laughed so hard at something as the end of the Tarantino bit, and even the Rodriguez bit. That has me in absolute stitches. Yes.
Do you know what I was thinking the other day when I was watching it today? Actually, I was thinking I reckon I've mixed up the memory of showing you this with the memory of us watching Clerks together, because I don't remember us watching Clerks together, but you tell me we did, and I reckon I've just replaced Clerks with this.
That's a hell of a big difference between films that one of you remembers one and one of you remembers the other.
To be honest, even when I picked Fargo, when Alec was like, "Oh, sorry, it's taken me so long to get around to watching it," I was like, "Did I not show you it?" I could have sworn we watched that together as well.
Were you guys drunk for a lot of these screenings, or?
I mean, I probably was.
I don't know. I think I've just like replaced every film that I've shown Alec with every other film that I've recommended to.
Nice, I like it. Maybe I should keep a record from now on.
Cool. Opening statements then.
I think Four Rooms is like, it's a film I'm always going to have a soft spot for, but I really didn't expect my scores to come out as low as they did. Because when I first watched it, I would have been like maybe 12, 13, something like that. And it would have been like when I was very first getting into films, and I just remember being like, oh, this idea that like everyone's got their own room, and one of the rooms is Quentin Tarantino, and another one of the rooms is Robert Rodriguez. and that's really awesome. And I think I got really swept up in that, and I still was a little bit, to be honest. But kind of watching it now as an adult, I was going, this could have been executed a lot better. It's just like, I don't know. I think watching it as an adult, I was like, this is totally random.
It was so highly random.
And I don't know how, but I completely erased the Coven bit from my memory.
We may not know how, but we definitely know why.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like it was kind of weird going back to it, but it's funny in a way because I can see why, like, as a 12, 13-year-old, I was going like, oh, Tim Roth is the greatest. and now as an adult, I'm like, he is, but maybe not for this. But yeah, no, I think I'll always have a soft spot for it. But yeah, it kind of feels like a group of people who've like made their money and now they've blown it all on an in-joke.
Yeah.
So Corey, I'm going to assume that's a 1 for enjoyment and not a secret 10.
Yeah, I noticed that wasn't that's a 1. You guessed right. Yeah. I guess, yeah.
I mean,
it's a good.
it's only fair, really.
And I need to give my opening statement. Oh, I might as well get it over with. So, yeah, I really what put me off like off the bat was Tim Roth. Like his acting was really. I was surprised. I've seen him in many other things, and he's done a great job. So his acting just really didn't land for me. It was not. I was not. Yeah, it didn't like. I know he was going for something really outlandish and like obviously, but it just didn't have any amusing factor for me. And he was so prevalent throughout the whole thing, so he really, really made it hard for me to kind of stick with it and kind of see what good there is. There was some good, like some of my scores are not ones, but yeah.
What a pocket review.
I like and like the concept and what I think one of my higher scores was like for purpose. I think it was because the concept was a really great one. It was really cool. I've never heard of a film having 4 different directors for 4 different segments. I thought that was really interesting. So points for that. But yeah, just how it all came together really fell flat. It again, like same with like Repo, like it had for me, it had kind of like a school project feel. It was like very like amateur, and like just in just the way it was shot, and aside from Tim Roth, like there was some decent acting, but unfortunately, just he just really he just really sank it for me. I just really did not like what he did with this. I'm confused still. I just don't know what he happened. So yeah. Like better hopes for the next one, for me, but yeah.
I think I fully expected there to be like a massive mixed bag of people who enjoyed it and people who really hated it. Like Repo, like I had that kind of thing that everybody's probably going to hate it and like it's fine. This one, I definitely knew there was going to be a mix. I think it's becoming a bit of a pattern where I clearly enjoy shitty movies that are bizarrely interesting, I guess.
You could, I would definitely say that this had bizarre elements. Like the beginning, the first story, I felt like I was watching. Like, it could have been like that. Could have been like a crappy porn movie.
Yep. Kind of was. Yeah.
And I didn't see that dead person in the mattress coming. I didn't see that coming at all. So yeah, definitely bizarre. Truly bizarre.
I do think the dead person in the mattress is probably my favourite scene there.
Yeah, it's one of mine as well because it's just so shocking. Like the whole time they're just sniffing their feet, so it's like such a weird build up to dead hooker. Like that's just
That was the
it's just how instant.
When he was sucking his toe, that was the lowest point of the whole movie for me. I'm like, what am I watching right now?
Got Simran.
No.
As good as you can do it.
I'm sure.
No, I was gonna say the bit, the bit when he like discovers the dead body, the vomit's just so instant. Like it doesn't just catch me. That's like my first laugh of the
Window.
Oh, sorry, the second laugh of the film. The window's the first laugh. Everything vomit. Yeah. All the vomity bits. They're hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, to me, those parts are just like bottom of the barrel, kind of like lame kind of humor. Whereas like the stuff that was really creative, like the window scene where you have the POV shot or the side shot of him being half in the window. That's so smart. That's so like that cinematography on that and the visuals on that was great. And then you had the long cut of him or the hotel itself, and you just had the little arrow saying this is so that's really cool. That's proper like excellent filmmaking there, and that's why I like the beginning, which was done by Chuck Jones. I was saying to the guys earlier who did Looney Tunes. He was the main animator of Looney Tunes, and he did this and credited the opening titles of the animation. That's just great, and I just wish the whole film had that vibe and that energy and that kind of like innocent humor, because it's trying to be this edgy kind of gross out stuff sometimes, and not always, but sometimes it doesn't know what it wants to be in that regard. Sorry, I'm kind of going into my opening statement, so I do apologize. But it's just basically the concept of this film is brilliant. It's just like the idea of like 4 rooms, 4 rooms, 4 different stories. And it's just, I'm sorry for like mispronouncing something, but it's just kind of like this really cool idea. It's just not executed as well as anywhere near as good as it should be, because it's kind of like I know there's a film that we've also discussed, which is the Twilight Zone movie, that has its own problems, but it certainly has its flaws and positives as well. But I think it needed more of like a through line, like a director that kind of oversee all of them to kind of have more consistency, especially with Tim Roth. Because Tim Roth, sometimes I don't know what, is he playing it straight? Is he playing it stupid? Is he playing it kind of wacky? Is he playing it on crack? What the hell is this guy on? Because he's so up and down. I feel like if it was a straight man, kind of like a very kind of like no nonsense straight guy, versus everything around him is just bullshit and wacky and over the top insane, and he's just playing it normal, that would make sense. But that he kind of is up and down, he's kind of just constantly like really like his dynamics and his performance is just up and down, and sometimes he's very, very polite, sometimes he's swearing and aggressive and very like intense. So it is just, I think despite him being a good actor, he wasn't good in this. It's just a shame, because I feel like if he toned it down, it would have kind of saved the film a lot of ways, just because he kind of would have made it all come together a bit. And I know that's part of
is the direction though. Like,
then that's.
I feel like he kind of I feel like he sort of comes to a certain level with the last 2 like rooms. I find his performance in the second room harder for me, but like
you can't put your finger on it.
I think he's a lot more level. But in the last 2 rooms, I think it's a lot more purposeful, and that's when you start having the thing of he's actually got like a bit of a London accent. Like he's just kind of, it's just like an act that he's putting on, and it's like, but yeah, I think like a lot of his demeanor changes depending on who he's talking to. Like he's a lot more direct with the kids because he knows he can get away with it more, whereas like with someone who he's feeling a little bit intimidated by, he's doing like that kind
it's his customer service persona.
Yeah.
He starts as a bellhop, and then the more and more he loses his shit, the more shit that happens to him, the less he has his customer persona on.
Yeah.
With the kids, he doesn't need it because they're kids.
Yeah, if he has a chance to get away with it, he'll drop it.
And by the end one, he's just given up completely. He really doesn't give a fuck. So he's more in his own persona instead of his customer service one.
Yeah. I feel like, what, in my opinion, I know this is a weird one to bring up because it's kind of like the fact that this film's concept and idea is great, and I feel that it was executed better in Bad Times at the El Royale, where it actually has this through line of just different things going in different rooms, and they're not quite as insane and over the top. And I know they're probably trying to do it for the comedy aspect of it, kind of like this crazy thing that I think is more insane and more outrageous and that shit nonsense as it goes on, kind of thing. But Bad Times at Royale, at least for me, had the perfect balance of kind of like, it knew where to kind of like not go over that edge a bit, because it wasn't, it kind of like took it, if it was more like a Looney Tunes thing, it was kind of like leveled out in terms of like, this is silly slapstick, cool, but the fact it's kind of silly slapsticks for adults, because you can't show this to kids because there's a lot of craziness and debauchery going on. So it's not really a kids film, but it's kind of acts like one. So it kind of is in this weird kind of like in between, like kind of limbo situation where it's kind of like it doesn't know what kind of thing it wants to be. And I know probably that's by design, but like I was saying, if it had a more kind of overall kind of like direction, rather than four things coming together, four directors come together, making this thing, if there was one director that oversaw it all to be like, yeah, this is Tim Roth's arc, and this is what he is and who he is as a person, and this is how all the things happening to him and how he's going to react to it. So it kind of was like these concepts, but they're smushed together without a real link. So it's a real kind of shame that they don't kind of work for me. But that's my thing of it all. It kind of, it doesn't coalesce, and the stories themselves aren't quite, well, not just believable, just kind of like, it's what's the word, just outrageous and kind of like, I can't quite think of the words I'm trying to think of right now, but it doesn't fit in my bracket, I'll come back to it when I kind of get the words. It's just it's really hard to put your thing on, but yeah, it's a Marmite film for sure. And some bits better than others. But yeah, the Quentin Tarantino sequence, hands down, is the best bit for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, we've discovered another thing.
You hate it or you love it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like an advert. It was like, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Marmite, yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
It's Vegemite over there.
I've just never heard of a Marmite film. I didn't know if that was something different or if it's just the Marmite thing. Continue, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't got quite my thoughts properly in together. It's just a hard one to kind of like, coalesce. But
yeah, there's a lot to sort through in your brain to get to. Like the first time I saw it, I definitely just came out of it and went, "Yeah, I got to watch that again," because I'm not sure I clocked it.
It's weird. When we did see it a few years ago, I appreciated it more. But I suppose it's just either the more you see it, the more you appreciate it, or the more you don't appreciate it. It's either going to go one way or the other. You'll like it more or you'll like it less. That's what it was like for me and Rob. We liked it less, but for you liked it more because you could appreciate what they were going for.
I reckon we probably had a similar thing where it's like when you first hear of it, you kind of get swept up in the concept.
It's a cool idea. They should do more films like this. More like.
I wonder if that's why it was a bit different for me though, because I didn't know what it was before I saw it. So for me, I saw it and it was just like a complete brain fuck because I went, none of this slots together. This is the most bizarre thing, and then finding out at the end of the film that it's 4 directors just made me more interested in it. So maybe having the backwards helped.
I do find that like really, really just strange because like I don't know. I think just kind of hearing how like the jokes land a little better, like later on and everything like that. I think like the delivery in the first two rooms, everything is just a little bit more awkward and everything, and then like I've just as soon as you get into Robert Rodriguez's room, I'm like, bang, yeah, with this is a lot more like just purposeful. This is a lot more like on purpose. I was about to say it's a bit more on purpose in addition to more purposeful, but yeah, that's good. Sorry, it happens to me as well. But I don't know. I feel like you can just instantly just place a Tarantino.
Yeah,
it's like just from the dialogue, you can kind of go like, here we go. Like,
yeah, when people start talking like Quentin Tarantino. as they do in all of his films.
you compare it with like the first one where it's just kind of like there's like that introductory joke with Madonna and her daughter, and she just like stop smoking, and she's like, "You're not my mom." She goes, "Yes, I am," and she goes, "And why are we sleeping together?" And it's like, oh, that felt clunky as shit. Like that wasn't. And then like you hear like the poems as well. They do like the little recitations before they put stuff in the cauldron, and it's like, there's a thing called meter and there's a thing called rhythm, and like you kind of got to acknowledge those if you're doing little poetic bits. And I don't feel like you know about those. I think you just kind of.
I think that's like covered purposeful though. They're very not understanding like the full strength of what's going on. Bar one. It's just a bunch of random women coming together to make their best coven without a true leader.
Right.
None of them have the skill or foresight to actually know what the fuck they're doing.
Okay.
But I hope.
That's fair. But yeah, just it's an awkward one to start with. But then you have like advantages to it as well, because you kind of like open it up and you kind of go like, oh, okay, we've already started on this level where there's witches and shit, and then like I don't know. I think it's like quite funny that the stories kind of get better the smaller it goes. Like just in terms of like the stakes and stuff. Like it just I
mean that's why it feels awkward though, because it's like there's no ramp. Like it's kind of. Well, the ramp is that the writing quality gets better and better. But when you start with something that's like fantasy and then just go more into reality, I don't know. For me, I kind of got to the end and I was kind of going like, it's sort of, I don't know. It was a weird progression.
I kind of like that though. I think I get irritated when movies just get more and more.
Yeah,
like out of reach. Like the further on they go, they start at quite like a base level, and then you just get more and more fantastical.
Yeah,
and I don't know, that annoys me a bit. I think for most of them, I like that this one you feel grounded by the time you finish. Like it's like going on a trip. Like you just took a bunch of acid and you're slowly coming off it in like the nicest way possible.
Yeah, like some lady was breathing fire earlier.
Yeah.
But now we're going to cut off Tarantino's mate's finger, and
cool.
I feel on firmer ground with this.
Yeah,
I think even if it was just like a bit more of like a fluid structure, it would have helped though, because it was like, I don't know, like I think you could have had the same material, but if there was like bits of the first one kind of like interspersed throughout the others. And it was kind of like Tim Roth kind of like going back to the first one like every now and again and just being like, well, what is this?
That'd be quite funny. Yeah, he's like just like he's mid like with the kids, and he's just like, oh bollocks, and he goes back to the honeymoon suite, and they're just like just portal opening and everything. And he's just like, I don't know, I actually don't have time for that. Okay, someone who hasn't gone.
If you're interested in seeing more films like that, I'm not sure if it was Corey or someone else. I'm trying to think. There are films that I swear we've even mentioned on the call. Huh?
I said I think we're getting an anime.
Oh no, not even an anime or animation, but someone who was. I think there was someone involved with Mars Attacks or something like that. who was involved in a project like this as well. But it was apparently tracked. There was a Bond one as well. Yes, there was a Bond one where it was it like in the 70s? It's not a recent one at all, but it was a similar concept. But I think it was 6 directors. In each part of the film, the Bond film was a different director.
Oh,
but,
you meant the original Casino Royale? Yeah, the Woody Allen one. Another one. He played one of like 5 different James Bonds in it. Peter Cushing was one of the Bonds. But yeah, another one, Casino Royale, the original, 1966.
Yeah. It sounds mad as well because I don't think any of them were really told anything except, like, I guess the basic what it is. But they weren't necessarily told anything that would help them all sync it up together. So if you thought this was, I don't know, maybe someone should pick it just for the sake of it. But if you think this was bad, actually, that's much worse. At least these people kind of had some kind of through line. They just went off.
Ben seems to know a lot about it, so I think Ben should pick it.
What do you say? I missed it.
I said, Ben just said that someone should pick it, and I said you seem to know a lot about it, so maybe you should pick it.
Yeah, I like this. I like the original Casino Royale a lot more than this, so maybe I should. And I don't think that's great either.
That's not high praise at all. Sorry, Camilla's in The Sims, and she's making a sim that I think Ebony would appreciate.
Ooh.
It's yeah, very dark styling, it's very black goth wedding vibes. It's nice.
Does it have a big orange head?
Like Lydia Dietz, just.
Saying that, there was one point, like, I think, not because I wasn't too, actually, I can't get my words out. It doesn't matter. Anyway, what's to say? But my opening statement. So, I didn't enjoy pretty much any of it. The only bit I was kind of all right with was the kids part, but I still didn't like what they were getting told to do, basically. So while they were the only kind of part, I was like, okay, cool, I'm watching a movie. Like it's kind of a bit outlandish, but okay. Every other time, like, I didn't like watching Tim Roth's acting in this. I didn't think he was doing a bad job. I think he was doing exactly as directed. I didn't like how he's being directed. I didn't like his character. I was just like, what? Why are you being like that? That's okay. And on a side note, originally they imagine, what's his name? Instead of Tim Roth, Steve Buscemi. I can't say his name properly. Buscemi.
Yep.
They were originally thinking to have him to do the role instead, but I guess at some point it changed over to Tim.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm trying to picture it now with Steve Buscemi and stuff.
I'm having trouble picturing young Steve Buscemi doing it. I think it's a bit of a.
Oh no, I can definitely picture him. I pictured him as the younger.
Yeah, no, I just kind of think of him as like old current Steve Buscemi, and I'm like, that's.
I was thinking just imagine he was in Reservoir Dogs, and then just place him from that into this.
Yeah, I was going to say, because this was only like 4 years after Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, he was.
Yeah, real fun.
Huh?
Nothing. I'm just being mean about people.
Okay. But yeah, there's other things. Obviously, we'll get into more as the call progresses. But yeah, I just if someone had recommended this to me I would have cut the film off by the point of The Wrong Man. Parts of the second room. Is that the second room? Yeah. When all that stuff was going on, I would have just been like, nah, bye. If she would have cut it off before me, she would have got to the covering part in the middle of that stuff and just been like, nah.
She's in the fetal position. Well, look what you've done to her.
This one took commitment, didn't it? Yep, it took commitment to stay in there.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's just I think in general, it is just a really out there film that is just going for it. And on a funny note, so I forgot what year it was made in when we was first watching it, and I was just like, because I'm a huge Charmed fan.
Mm-hmm.
Love supernatural, witch type stuff, dark supernatural, and all sorts of gothic kind of things. And I was just like, are they just trying to be some weird over sexualized Charmed? Obviously, this was before Charmed. But I had to look, I was like, wait, no, Charm came after this. I guess the witch coven thing was just kind of in, maybe.
There was quite a lot of, like, from that era, a lot of coven-y kind of type, and a lot of them did have, like, that, like, weird special effects in them as well. Like, it's just the thing. 'Cause I always thought that was the bit that made that room specifically the worst one, was putting in, like, fire breathing and, like, laser eyes and all that kind of stuff. But it was
that went great
at that time.
That was a great choice because it just happened again. And
I think the thing is, sorry.
Oh, sorry. It basically echo what Ebony was saying. It's just that kind of dates it more than the rest of the film. The production side of things is pretty good, except for those visual effect shots, and they kind of make it really cheesy.
Yeah,
I do get the impression it's purposeful though, because it's kind of like the the scene in Pulp Fiction where the projection at the back of the car is like an old kind of like black and white noir film.
Yeah,
and I think it is that kind of thing because all of these four grew up with like 70s Italian B movies. So
that's fair. But I think with Pulp Fiction, that was in the background. It wasn't in the foreground. So it's kind of like unless you're really focused on it, you've noticed it. But in this, it's just like straight up doing the visual effect shot with a mouth, and there's something happening right in their faces. It's like you can't look away without seeing it. So it's quite intense, and but not that it looks the most woeful thing in the world. We've seen worse things in film club, so worse. But it's just kind of
that
like,
should be. We've seen the worst things in film club.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever watch like Sabrina the Teenage Witch or anything like that?
I used to love it when I was a kid.
Like 90s, but it was that similar kind of, they always had like the weird special effects and like a lot of those kind of witchy shows and stuff, and like same with
maybe it's homage,
like Bewitched and like all that kind of stuff. Like it was all very much of that same style for witchy films and shows at the time.
Yeah, maybe it is a point. There is a point to it.
Yeah. I still think they did it on purpose. The laser eyes is just super weird, but
I guess that's what the director and writer was like. Yeah, let's make it literally like that from the. Yeah. Let's make it like the Bewitched series from the 60s, but with a bigger budget. So yeah.
Yeah, it was literally like pop culture reference and like let's make it as comfortable for the time as possible. But now it's completely ridiculous and seems so out of place.
Just what you were saying earlier, Emmanuel, about like when you would have turned it off if you were watching it on your own. So when I was talking to Rachel earlier, she was like, "Oh, I've just got to the bit with the kids, and it's like dramatically improved." And I was like, "I think that's going to be a common sentiment."
Yeah.
I wouldn't say dramatic, but it did improve. It became watchable. I was like, okay. Yeah.
I like the thing you were just going like, this would be so cool, but that kid is smoking.
Can I just say so? There was that moment where obviously obviously there's many erogenous shots of the kids and their bare feet made me think, did Quentin Tarantino secretly direct this sequence? Because it's like, whoa, this is a lot of
thing for feet, though.
Oh, does it?
It's just not as widely done. Like he wrote that scene in Dust Till Dawn for Tarantino, so he could suck in Selma Hayek's foot.
Oh, yeah. I thought Tarantino wrote that scene for himself.
Speaking of which, did you know that Selma Hayek was the woman on the TV?
Yeah, naked lady.
That's really cool little cameo.
Yeah, because it's funny though, because obviously she's only in it for like 2 seconds and you barely notice her, but she's credited. But Bruce Willis isn't credited because he got in trouble legally, and they said that we won't sue you unless you're not credited for the film.
What? Okay.
That was, I didn't realize like SAG-AFTRA was that kind of just over the top of some situations. Like Bruce Willis, I mean, yeah, you know more than me. You could tell me in a minute. But it's like, yeah, he did it for free as a what's it called? As a favor to Quentin. And it's like that kind of stuff happens plenty of times. I mean, he put a lot of effort in to do that as a favor. But fair enough, he got paid for food and board or whatever it was. But the fact that they was just like, yeah, you can't be credited. And it's just like, it's very obvious that I'm in the film. I actually thought he was just doing a cameo because I heard, because I found out before his scene that he wasn't credited. But he's doing a whole freaking scene, like, whole freaking part of the film. I'm just like, really? Because
the rules on like who you can credit and like when you can be credited are super strict. So like, you know, in Fargo, there's somebody credited as Prince's symbol but with a smiley face in it. So the reason he's credited as that is because he was a cinematographer, and because he's a cinematographer, he's not actually an actor, and because he's not an actor, he's not part of SAG-AFTRA, so he couldn't be credited because of that. So that's why they credited him as the symbol instead.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
No sense, but anyway.
They just hire a whole like team of actors who aren't actually actors, and they just go like, just bunch of stupid symbols.
Just winding.
Fuck you. Fuck you, okay. How you doing, Si? You alright?
Yeah, going back to he's alive. Cool.
Yeah, I'm alright. It's just sort out my stuff. I've just been doing paperwork and listening to you guys. I realised I also haven't done my opening statement. Let's quickly do it now. It's mostly a fun film. It gets weird at the beginning because you can't get what the purpose of it was. But then you realise Tim Roth is pretty much just Mr. Bean, but a bit more competent, I guess. And it's just like, if you see it that way, you go, oh, it's all a joke. Right, okay, then that's a bit better. You wasn't sure how weird it was going to be with the first scene with the Coven, like, party there. And they're like, as in, okay. Then afterwards it goes to second room. It just got weird. And afterwards, when it gets to the third room, you go, oh, I'm in on a joke now. It's all pointless. It's all like stupid. It's just him having the worst New Year's Eve ever. And just like everything has just happened. It doesn't. At the end, he chops off the finger and takes the money and leaves. And it's like, fuck it, I don't care. No one else cares. I don't care. It's the new. Fuck it. It's great. And I've got to say though, because the third room, which is the who filmed the third room again?
Rodriguez.
I 100% did think it was Quentin Tarantino's, not just because of the feet thing, because there was the in-between shots where he was at the front desk, and there's a little cameo of the odd little thing that which is the Red Apple cigarettes, as in the scene. It's like a little thing that he does for his cinematic universe, Quentin Tarantino cinematic universe. I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. on the Quentin Tarantino bit. I was like, okay. But then after I saw him on the Penthouse, I was like, was that the Quentin Tarantino bit, or is this the Quentin Tarantino bit? It's just a bit. I got like a bit confused on which section that he filmed.
They're like really good friends.
It worked.
Yeah.
That'd be like, I don't know, like sort of us making it, and then I don't know, if we were all established filmmakers, like in my bit I go, oh, Ben does this in his film, so I'm going to do this in my segment. Like it's just
okay, that's
up to the one that's coming next kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, that I mean that would explain a bit more then, because like it's just like, oh, because I know work with that particular his little fake brand of cigarettes, I was like, this is where it goes to it. But it's like, oh, I guess not. It has its weird bits, and it's just like CGI stuff and like the special effects, and I wasn't sure where it's going. But generally speaking, as a comedy, and if you just don't take it, I just realized it's mostly comedy instead of being just like. There's lots of weird bits here. I can't explain how it goes on. But it's just like it's just generally a fun movie. The bit there's okay, because like I can't remember who did the who did the second room. Where they're like playing that like weird tying up game where it's like he gets hit by the guy Siegfried with like the back of the gun, and he goes into like a dream state, and I got really confused. I was like, did he get drugged? Why is he having a hallucination with him holding himself as a baby? I'm like, if he got drugged, it would have been like, okay, maybe it's the drugs affecting his brain. But he just got hit on the back of the gun, right? So I was just like, I was like, I'm pretty sure I've missed something. I can't tell what I've missed. Maybe it gets explained in the second part of the movie. No, it was a style choice, and it's just like, okay, fucking all right, maybe it gets better.
I do think though that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier about it feeling like an in-joke, because there's so many moments where it's like, I've not got the context on this.
I feel like that's kind of the general thing with it. Like, obviously, Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez are known directors. The other two, not a clue on any of their other stuff. And obviously, there's a lot of in stuff in the second two. So I'm gathering there's probably a lot of in stuff in the first two that we just don't know because we don't know any of their films. But also, the first two obviously aren't that well written and directed, but the second two are. And the second two that are good, well, those directors are now very well known for a lot of stuff. The other two aren't. So I feel like it kind of, you know, like proof in the pudding kind of thing. Like nobody knows their films and nobody gets the in jokes, but the other two are really good and everybody understands the little bits and bobs between, and they're the ones that have survived throughout it. So
there's probably a reason for that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just makes more sense. I'm sure there's probably some in jokes.
The first two like segments were so poorly written. In general, I quite enjoy like the first two bits. Like you can sort of space out watching that, and then my favourite part of the film. I chuckled little bits during that sort of third segment, but it was the whole ending of it.
Yeah.
That was hysterical. And then like the first two were like, it looked like it was made by amateur filmmakers.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you if you take away the first two bits, I think it goes from a solid film to a really good film. Like if you just take it as its own individual, think of it as like an episode to a 4-part miniseries. There's a little nod for you, Ben. And hated it so much he zoned out completely.
Sorry, you were cutting out in a lot of it, Pat. I only heard miniseries. That's it.
Miniseries, and it was addressed to me.
I said like. Oh, fair enough.
No, you're cutting out.
I just said, just think of it as like a 4-part mini-series. I'm going to go to my tablet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good idea.
That was like a bag for me because it sounded like Pat when think of it like a 4-part mini-series.
You like Mooney series, don't you?
But if you did it like a mini-series, it'd be a question of like, would it be like just like nonsensical? Because it would just well, I mean, it's nonsensical anyway. But like, it would be even more so because if you did it like a mini-series, it would just be. Would you like have a different director for each episode, or it'll be like, oh no, you can do 2 episodes, and we'll like get you to do another 2 episodes, but we'll reference the first 2 episodes, and it's just like it would just be a bit clustered.
Yeah, it would be even worse than it is now on the understanding what the hell is going on.
The viewership just dies on its arse.
Yeah.
Here's the first one, and everyone just goes, no, I'm fine.
I think every time I watch this film, I'm always watching it like the rooms are individually done. Like that's always what's in my mind when I'm watching it. That they're not really connected other than a bellhop going from room to room. Like I always think of it separately.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like a shame of it though, because it's like there's not really a payoff for there being 4 different rooms with different things happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think the payoff is him slowly losing the will to live throughout the night, and giving up all hope, and then making money out of it in the end if he just stays a little bit longer.
I think you kind of get that when Tarantino's like, I'll give you this $1,000 if you just sit here and indulge us for 1 more hour, and you can just sit and go, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And he's just like, he just describes the whole thing, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually like
absolutely done.
That's kind of interesting, like to look at it that way, because it kind of feels like Quentin Tarantino's been given this script that's had like 3 different people putting stuff into, and he's just gone, I need to tie this up somehow. I don't know really how I'm gonna, but I'll give it a go.
There was one thing I wanted to mention, but I would just like to ask if Camilla would fancy joining in, or if she's simming right now, or
she's like, hell no, I hate it.
Okay, say no more.
Yeah, she missed what Ebony said.
What was that?
No,
Alex,
I just wondered if you wanted to join in, or if you were simming, or
just before that, just before trying to get her thoughts together. Going back to the kind of bad effects and whatnot, probably because it felt like a throwback or whatnot, I didn't really think much of it, because I think there was just so much else going on around that was so Larry, including like with the poems or whatever you want to call that, and everything that was going on. That was like the least where I was kind of just like, what? Why? Like, what is going on? That was like one of the probably the most normal parts of that whole thing.
Fire breathing and the laser beams.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, that's pretty fine, especially at the time. And while I think when I was younger, I think I preferred. I don't know. I kind of like both of them, but I think I prefer Bewitched over Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I do appreciate it, but I think at the time I kind of liked Bewitched more, and I think it's just coming. I guess it's just a different angle. Basically, it's a different, obviously, type of character and storyline. But anyway,
yeah, I think Sabrina the Teenage Witch was definitely aimed at kids, more like teenagers, and Bewitched was the older side of it, so it's a lot more mature, like storyline and stuff. Whereas Sabrina was it's just a girl with a love life going to shit, and she just happens to have powers that help. It's a lot more superficial.
Yeah. I think that makes sense, because I was also the type of person that growing up, while Buffy was fine, I preferred Angel, and there were a few other things where it's like it has a different take on it. I prefer things that led more to that side, even though I was really happy Buffy existed. I didn't watch that much, but I watched more of Angel, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. See, again, Buffy was for teenage girls with teenage girl problems that just happened to be badass, vampire hunters. Angels was for the supernatural, like more delved into badass, fighting scenes. It was a lot more delved. Yeah, again, the less superficial one.
Well, thank you.
Agreed.
That makes
Angel was way better.
Oh, sorry, what you say?
Angel was way better.
Nice. Cool. You got your thoughts?
Yeah, this whole time I've been like undecided if I'm going to join in or if I'm just kind of sat here. This is I'm not feeling too well, so I was like, oh my god, there we go. But I'm here anyway. Sorry, continue. So I thought the concept was really interesting. And at first I was like, where's this going? Like, I wasn't really sure how the whole first bit with the coven was going to play out. And, the film was just really chaotic, a bit stressful to watch because sometimes there's just so much going on. It's funny how Simon said it's like Mr. Bean. I think Tim Roth was definitely giving me like a Mr. Bean. And I think I realized quite early on that it was like different directors, but I didn't understand that they'd all directed each room separately. And I think that's probably part of what's responsible for like some of the random things because I think generally the acting was quite good, but I think some of the things that annoyed me, like his accent changing and just some of the like weird. I was like, is there a reason that he like seems to like have these weird tics and movements and stuff? Like, is this going somewhere? But especially by the end, how like his accent changes, even like when he goes from "Can I speak to the name? Can he speak to the boss?" To when he starts speaking to the boss, just the way his accent changes. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I don't understand. But yeah, I think it was Ben who said it. If like the other rooms kind of link back to each other every now and again, then it might feel a bit more cohesive. And I think that might have helped with the film itself, because these kind of completely wacky, chaotic, just someone having the absolute worst night of their life story. Like, it's all well and good, but it didn't feel like it made sense as one film altogether, just because it was so kind of all these different bits siloed off. And yeah, I didn't enjoy it that much just because it was very chaotic. And yeah, it wasn't until like the kids that I was like, okay, this is interesting. Let's see where this goes. Because I really hated the wrong guy part. I was just like, I hate every second of this. It's so chaotic. Why is there blood everywhere? Like, I just feel like I've got more questions than I did like when I started.
Yeah, I like that everyone keeps mentioning the wrong guy one, because that's probably one, like, I really enjoyed that one. I don't think anybody else did. You don't like it either, do you?
It's better than the witch one.
Oh, yeah, but
That's a low bar.
I
Well,
thought
'cause I think
that, I don't know what the,
the
I don't know what the actor's name is, but I thought he was one of the more decent actors in this.
Mm,
You know.
yeah, very good. And I think there's just something about that room that I don't know, I just assume that that's their thing. It's role play, and that's their whole thing. They do it all the time, and yeah, and they just so happen to pick someone named Theodore twice, and that's like the wacky part of it. But from my point of view, I think just it's their weird sick fantasy that they like playing out all the time, because you can obviously tell she cares about him when he starts having like the stroke or whatever, and she's enjoying it. And then as soon as he wakes back up, she eggs him on even more to, and like, I don't think it's, well, I don't want to say uncommon, but people do those kind of fantasies. Like it's quite a thing. So in my mind, I guess watching it, I didn't feel that chaotic, because it just seemed like a obviously non-consensual from Tim Roth's side of it, but it's not that uncommon for people to do these kind of role plays where they involve other people into their manic, affair-driven, murderous, whatever kind of things.
Did anybody else, like, I thought that was a real, like, I didn't know that was role playing. I thought, because she looked genuinely like concerned, like she was trying to communicate. I thought she was trying to communicate to him to help her out. And there's that one scene where she's like trying to get the gun or something like that. So wow, I didn't know that, if that's the case.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was role play. It's kind of like there are some movies like made after this that kind of delve into that kind of thing of like strange. I say strange. Couples with different kind of. It's not that the fact itself is strange. It's more that they will suddenly involve someone else who doesn't want to be in this, and then that's like a whole kind of funny thing around it. But that was meant to be role play, because even the gun itself, and I think it was done like this on purpose, but I wasn't sure if it was just because it wasn't more of a production thing. They weren't trying to make much money from it, or trying to go too hard into it, or was it also because it's role play? Because the gun is it looks fake.
Yeah,
and you can you can see the orange thing on it. But usually when they try and pass off fake guns as real, they cover that up or paint it. But they didn't paint it or try, and they even showed it up quite close at different times. So it didn't. And then there was just a kind of like, she was like, just play along, and I think everything together, as well as like when she was like, oh, and now he's like whatever because you didn't get the pills or whatever it is, and just like how he switched out of character when he's like, oh yeah, I'm secrets. It's just like
that's mad. I think that's the key problem with that, is that you don't know it. It isn't obvious it's role play at first, and obviously that's the point. But it's kind of like, this is just like, what the fuck? You think you're in this like hostage situation? What's going on?
Yeah,
and it's just so uncomfortable and weird. But the fact that it's role play and they still wanted him involved is just kind of. And I know you just said that some people do like that, but that's so foreign to me, and so like can't be common. And this is, but
usually like common that people will involve like strangers in that kind of thing, but it's never usually like they're actually involved. Like it never causes any harm to them. Like some people will, pretend to hit on somebody else at a bar so their partner can intervene, and like it's usually that kind of thing.
Public setting,
no. In this one, obviously, that's kind of, I think, the point, though, that they have gone so far above and beyond, like, what they are comfortable with, that they are dragging anyone and everyone to get that high of, like, that relationship bond for them. Because I think when she ends up in obviously Tarantino's one, she's completely fine, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's napping. I don't give a shit." Like they're out of their scene now. She's just completely normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like they have a process, and so I think in my mind they've probably been doing this a long time, and it started out quite harmless for other people, but the more they needed to hype it up, the more harmful it got for the innocent bystander, which in like, you know, the kind of kink world is like a complete no-go. You don't do that kind of thing. But obviously it's a film and they're just a bit crazy.
I think in this story, weren't they like Theodore just accidentally went into that room and he just happened to have the right name. So I think they did have like a consenting third person come in, but he accidentally became that person, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Could be, yeah. Yeah, but I don't know if you noticed as well, the guy that came down for ice, he went to the room below because he realized they'd said the wrong room name, and his name was also Theodore.
Right. Yeah.
So the guy from the room above was also Theodore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which I just thought was bizarre, but yeah, maybe he was the consenting other person.
That's what I thought, yeah, because his name was Theodore. Yeah.
Unless they just call everyone Theodore.
So look at the analytics at the end and they go, like, fucking hell, we were right 2 times. That was amazing.
But yeah.
There was apparently like an attempt to link up rooms 2 and 3 though, but like it doesn't work if you think it's like that instance that we saw it, if that makes sense, because like there's a little bit in room 2 where he first gets interrupted by the phone and he's going like, needles? No, we ain't got needles, we just got this big fucking gun. And then later on in the third room they get she gets her brother to like think up a number like just randomly, and he comes up with 409, and she's like, hey, do you have any needles in your room? We've got a needle in our room. And then you hear like the conversation back there. But yeah, they've just Tim Roth is on his way up the stairs to go and give them like milk and saltines. Like at that time, so I was just like, that can't possibly have happened like as it happens. Like he's in 2 different places at once. So I was like, yeah, like that attempt at connectivity, if that is how they were trying to do it, is shit.
Yeah.
But there is also the thing of like he does like have like a cyclical sort of script kind of thing. So I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, maybe it's just like that. So yeah. I didn't score it that harshly, but I was like,
Interesting.
Just because we were talking about coalescence and stuff, and how like the rooms don't link up, and it's like, yeah, there was an attempt to, but it's not that great. Some would say unfunctional, but some would say non-functional because that's the actual word. Yeah.
English degree.
Favorite scenes? If any? It's all right, Corey, we'll wait.
I did say obviously I like the opening credits.
Yeah, his opening credits was a very. I think I've read somewhere it was very Pink Panther like inspired, and like I saw it again like I see where it comes from, right? It's got that like unique flow to it, and it's like it does remind me of that. But like favorite scenes, gotta think. I mean, like, I love Antonio Banderas, and it's just like his character is quite fun, even though he's, again, him and like Bruce Willis are only in it for like, 10 minutes at most, each thing, but like, him being there was there's a certain uniqueness about it, and him being like that weird, like, strict, but not really strict father figure, and there was something about his character, just that scene where it's like, where he's like, oh wait, try like, it's when he's trying to bribe Tim Roth to be like the babysitter, right? And he's like, $300. No, sir, you said $500. Are you calling me a liar? No, it's just like what you said was $500. And it's like goes on, and he says the thing goes, are you calling my kids a pain in the ass? It's like, no, I'm saying the situation for me to take care of your kids is a pain in the ass. Then he pauses for a second. It's like, no, you were right the first time. My kids are a pain in the ass. Here's 500. And it's like, it's having a, he has a very, because it's him, it's got that very, like, unique charm to him. And it's just like, yeah, I feel like I could watch, I kind of want to see what he does at a party for his wife to get so fucking blackout drunk and he has to, like, pick her up afterwards. It's like, there's the other side to that story. I kind of want to see what that side of the story was. But alas, we wait to see it. I was like, oh yeah.
She probably danced very intensely for like a couple of hours and then someone found her under a curtain or something. Just...
Yes.
I don't want to bring up about like the scenes not coalescing though. I do think like just working off your point though, like the way he talks to Antonio Banderas makes me think that he was like kind of affected by the second room more than like you probably realize, because like I feel like Antonio Banderas is sort of like imposing like a bit of a physical threat, like a you calling me a liar, and like I feel like after he's just had a gun in his face for like a whole scene, I feel like he's more inclined to go, you know what? No, I'm not calling you a liar, but I am going to stand up a bit. I am going to push back a little bit more than I generally would. Like, I have had like a bit of a rough night, actually. I do want some more money for this. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. And then when you kind of look back on what he was like at the start of the second scene, he's very like cavalier about like everything, really. Like because he's obviously just kind of post sex with like the cherry lady. So he's kind of gone like, cool, yeah, I'll do ice, no problem. I'm Mr. Cool. And then he's just kind of walking along, he's smoking. Whereas before, like at the beginning of the episode, like the first room, he was kind of like going like, oh shit, chuck the cigarette, blow the thing away, like no problem. In the at the start of the second one, he's smoking outside of the room. He's kind of taking a big long drag before he goes in, and then he's putting the cigarette butt in the ice box and gone fuck it, and he's just kind of done. But it's just kind of that he's a lot more kind of willing to fuck about a little bit because he's just fucked about a little bit like previously, and now after the second one he's like, yeah, fuck you, I actually will. You ain't got a gun in my face, eat shit. It's like, yeah, there's a lot more of that, and I think like I think that's a nice way of kind of like showing how the rooms are affecting him.
Yeah.
But I did like, so the beginning, like my favorite parts were there was a part that made me laugh out loud, but it was just in the intro, you know, with the animation. I did think like some of the goofy actions that his animation was kind of funny. I can't remember though what made me laugh, but I know maybe it was like around the part where he was like fighting with the hat, maybe. Yeah. And one of my favorite shots, like it's not a full scene, but is the window one where he's like half in, half out, and you see him from the side. That just looked really fun and cool.
Yeah, that's a really good shot. I love the way they did that bit.
Yeah, mine's just. I'm torn between the finger cutting scene because that is just like so brilliantly like just set up, but I think there's a lot of moving parts in the Rodriguez one where like to kind of make it happen. So he's got to pull the syringe out of his leg. There's the dead body in the mattress. There's like alcohol on the floor. There's a cigarette also on the floor, and just the way it all just kind of just comes together in that last minute.
And the porn.
And the porn's on as well. Yeah. Like. And him being covered in vomit. I think, yeah, just that minute where it all just goes bang, 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 and it's like, yeah, I can see why Robert Rodriguez is still around.
Yeah, and why Salma Hayek and Antonio Banderas are always willing to work with them as well, because they do a lot of films with them. So, yeah,
pretty cool.
Very cool.
Any more favourite scenes?
Yeah, the ending of the Rodriguez one for me, like that was like they found a dead hooker in the bed. The room was on fire. The syringe was being aimed at the son, and Antonio Banderas walks in. It's like, is it that he said, "Did they behave?" Or I can't remember. But it was like, I was like, the place is falling apart, and he's just casually, he's like, "Did my kids behave?" I really enjoyed it. That bit really made me laugh.
I like the way he just drops the wife straight to the floor, though, as well. Like just like a sack of potatoes.
Manuel?
I was thinking, I think, because it's hard to pick favorites because I'm just like, but the animation was great. Do you know Ben, why he wasn't credited?
No, I don't know why Chuck Jones wasn't credited. You'd think he would be, but I guess it was just like, whatever, I'm just doing it for the paycheck, I suppose.
Yeah, I found it
sort of like, because like you're saying about the Bruce Willis thing, where the Screen Actors Guild were like iffy about his involvement. Maybe Chuck Jones had some sort of behind the scenes thing that we don't know about. I haven't read anything, but maybe something to do with that in regards to him. But yeah, it's a strange one.
Maybe. And while I don't necessarily like the scene that leads up to it, the image at the end of Rodriguez's bit is, I guess it is quite iconic in a way. It's just everything's going wrong at the same time, and it looks mad. And like Pat said, it's like they've been misbehaving, and it's like, no, okay, cool. It gives that kind of feel. But I think, yeah, I guess those are my favorite bits. And when you see the kids come in, and even obviously from a different point of view, it just makes me think, oh, Spy Kids, which is many years later. So yeah, and a lady work as like have 2 kids, and they go off and do stuff, and the kids are doing stuff by themselves. Spy Kids. Huh?
Yeah.
Eb's a big fan of Spy Kids. So,
Yeah.
in case you're wondering what pick number 3 was going to be.
Wait,
But
why
have you seen Shark Boy and Lover Girl? That's the question.
Yes. I used to adore that film as a kid, and then when you guys watched it for your one, and I watched it, and I went, what did I ever see in this film? It was awful.
But this was the point of what I had made at the time as well. Like, yes, it's not a good film at all, but it was. This is why I picked it for Bad Movie Round. But it was perfect for its intended audience.
Yeah, it was. I loved it.
Yeah, and I know I've said this before, but I think Emoji Movie is a similar case. I think for adults, it's a crap movie, but I feel like for the kids that it's aimed for, it's perfect and actually has some good meanings and morals in it. It's just a terribly kind of...
Yeah, I think my little sisters loved Emoji Movie. They thought it was great, like, but they would hate Shark Boy and Lava Girl because it's just out of their time period, like, because they're like 15 years younger than me, so they don't give a fuck about Shark Boy and Lava Girl. But whereas, like, when me and my sister, we watched Shark Boy and we had it on DVD, and like the case had lava and water in it, and it came with like 3D glasses. You could watch it like with at home, and we loved that. Like, that was the best thing ever. Now
it's like the DVD case. Oh Jesus!
Repo had the girl from Spy Kids. What's the Spy Kids characters?
That's all linked.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
offended. You're like, how dare you? Why would I pick Spy Kids today? Like, maybe I will, actually.
Sometimes though.
It's all linked.
I didn't realize until, was it yesterday, that there's a Spy Kids TV show these days, like produced from Netflix.
Oh.
Okay, you
Yeah.
yeah. It's like we were just watching something and someone brought it up, and I was just like, "Wait, there is? I didn't know about this."
No idea.
So yeah, apparently it's not great.
Really, Josh.
I mean, this is coming from someone who really likes the first two. But yeah, even if you like Spy Kids, anyway, yeah. You have a favorite scene, or least favorite, or most bearable moment?
My least favorite is.
I like most bearable moment. I think that's great.
Okay. Most bearable moment is probably the last room, just because it felt kind of normal, even though the circumstances still obviously not quite normal, but it just felt the least like wacky and out there. It's like a bunch of people at the end of the night, everyone's drunk, everyone's high, everyone's got bad ideas on kind of what to do to pass the time. So that's the most bearable moment. I don't really have a favorite scene. I quite like when the old man, the previous bellboy, is like
forgot about that.
him. And there's just the little bits of foreshadowing going on, and it's kind of setting it up. You're not quite sure quite where it's going to go. And I liked the little touches in like the set design, like how all the keys were on the wall, but they'd obviously like been handwritten on, but they weren't in a straight line. So like some of them were like sloping like downwards because like, I don't know, it just felt weirdly real. And then like the next scene has like full special effects. So
yeah,
I quite like that part, the old guy.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. I did think, oh, that part's all right. Like, yeah, it was the only time I was okay watching Tim Roth's character because he wasn't doing anything. He just listening.
Yeah, that was really well done. I wish there was more of that sequence, or just more like more to it, and have the older mentor come in at the end, or maybe would have kind of been interesting. But it might not have worked. But it just that the idea of that character in it was great addition to the whole thing. And also an interesting fact, but one of the reason why I like the final room the most is because it's kind of, as Tarantino's character himself actually references this old Peter Lorre, Steve McQueen short film on Alfred Hitchcock's Presents show, which was like a Hitchcock's version of the Twilight Zone, and there was hundreds of episodes, and one of them was basically the premise of this, where these two guys want to do this bet of like, if I can hit this lighter, how many times it was, and then you win this, and if I don't do it, you can cut off my pinky. And I thought that the whole idea of the episode is the building of tension, and like, how will this happen? Will he do it? Will he get through it? And I thought that was so good that they did it, and that was written by none other than Roald Dahl, and that's why he gets the credit at the end at the special thanks, because Roald Dahl wrote that episode. And so Quentin Tarantino was like, yeah, this is the reason why I wrote this sequence, because of that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice trivia there, Ben. That's good. I like it.
And I just want to piggyback on that. And for the second week in a row, I want to tell people to watch Tales of the Unexpected by Roald Dahl, because it's a brilliant series.
Yes, another good anthology shows are great. That's what we need to come to terms with.
Roberto, do you have a favourite scene?
by far the body in the mattress. I love that reveal. Like it's just yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's the bit that's remained as effective now as it was when I was 13. Like, yeah, it's the only bit that both time it's just had me in stitches. Yeah, I love it.
Nice, excellent. Right. Any parting thoughts on forums?
I just wanted to ask actually before that. But so why do you think Chuck Jones did the opening animation? Did you find something that said he did?
I've heard somewhere on IMDb and Wikipedia that he was uncredited.
Oh, okay.
Whether that is true or not, because they can be edited. I don't know. Maybe I've been.
Yeah, it's just because I was looking it up to see why he wouldn't be credited, and then I saw that it said that full credit title designer was Wayne Fitzgerald, and then there's a list of animators, 3 animators.
Oh.
And a title writer, designer, director for it.
Oh, maybe that's a big old lie then. Maybe it wasn't him.
Yeah, because it's like Kurtz, because it says that it was supposed to be originally the title sequence was supposed to be a short film, and it was what's his name? Weinstein wanted to be at the end because he didn't want it anywhere near the first room because he thought the first room was so bad.
Oh.
So he wanted it to be at the end. Quentin wanted it to be at the start, and then Quentin was away, and they cut 4 minutes out of the opening title, so it wouldn't be classed as a short film.
Oh, fair.
Somebody else did it, but
well, whoever did it did a good job.
They did a very good job. Like I said, I just couldn't find anything else that said it was Chuck Jones. So could be. Who knows? With this kind of stuff, it's always hard to find.
Yeah, you'd think that would be like concrete, considering he's so important. But maybe someone just put it in, but maybe it's just his production company rather than himself. Yeah. But just an animation consultant was him. But
yeah,
because it wouldn't make sense if it was like at the end of the movie, because you had the ending like rolling credits where they're all panicking because of the cut finger. So it would be like it would have been odd to mix it up like that way.
Yeah. I think that's why Tarantino wanted it at the start, but Weinstein only wanted it at the end because he didn't want it associated with the first one that he thought was terrible.
It's just good in the tone, though. Isn't
it is.
Really for
but like the Pink Panther ones as well, they set everything for it. So I don't know.
Cool.
But yeah, sorry.
Who was the director for the first part and also the second part?
Alison Anders was the first part, and Andre something.
Is it Alexander or something like that?
Alexander Rockwell.
Yeah, because I think it was. Is that I think it was their idea to make this whole kind of film project in the first place.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
He's got nothing.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't recognize any of this stuff.
Nothing. All right. Well, Simon.
I thought you just closed.
That'd have been great. What are you picking?
Oh, wait. No. Any final... I was you need to do some final thoughts, or if there was a...
Well, do a final thought if you want.
I just had to ask. Why?
Oh. No final thoughts? Because, okay. So, I think I asked this last call. I'm not sure if I was gonna... Christ, what did I decide last call? Fuck, I'm trying to think about... I have 2 movie choices, right? Both of them are...
You said animation.
Did we agree on I was going to do the animation one? Okay, they're both not good choices.
Life would be too hard, right?
Oh, yeah, that's it. Because it was a messed up Korean movie. We already had a messed up Korean movie at the beginning of this round, so it's gonna be No, so you're not you're gonna say that because I'm gonna choose a worse film. So finally, I'm gonna choose the really not great animated film of Goblin Slayer, Goblin's Crown. Yes, I'm gonna choose that film.
You know what I thought you were gonna pick?
What?
Because you kept kind of not hyping it up, but like just building it up. I thought you was gonna pick Grave of the Fireflies.
Fuck that! I can't because he's gonna laugh at it. Oh, sorry, he laughed at it.
I did.
Who does?
I did.
Well, Alec did. Yeah, and I was like,
But that's really sad. And I was just like,
isn't that supposed to be quite a good
no.
movie?
I mean, if I'd actually chose Grave of the Fireflies, you guys might have appreciated it artistically. This is a film this is one of my not good films, if you get what I mean. Yeah, this is.
I didn't know. Sorry, I didn't realize you meant actually. This is a bad film.
This is not a film that I recommend for the ladies to watch. I'm just saying. So it's just like, yeah, it's not a great film. It's quite graphic. So
can I ask? But why?
But why? Because I just thought, why not? I mean, there's bits of why and why not. Actually, no. Let's start off one of the reasons why. It started. This thing got planted in my head like a year or so ago, where Rob said he watched the Demon Slayer movie and he didn't appreciate it or didn't like it because he just couldn't understand that there was no context to the characters and stuff. This one is split up. Essentially, it's like an hour and a half, but the first 10-20 minutes is a mini episode of the first season, where it's told by another character's point of view. So it gets introduced properly to the correct world of why this world is pretty fucked up. Then it goes into the movie where it's a whole thing, but it's it's like an anime movie. It's not a good anime movie, but it's just one of the things that are on my list it's on my bad list. So it's might as well just you got to knock out some of the good ones, you got to knock out some of the bad ones. You gotta just balance it out, even up my things, because I know my next pick for the next round is gonna be the best animated movie. So it's gotta balance it out. It's the best animated. This is a bad animated movie. The next pick is going to be the best animated movie. What that
on a list again?
Can you guarantee that? Can you guarantee that Alec won't score the good animated movie bad and the bad animated movie good?
No.
Yes. Yes. I'm pretty sure the best animated movie that I picked has won an Oscar. So let's break it down that way. It's got you thinking now. So let's go.
It's going to tank for Alex.
If it does take it, I think everyone else will be pissed off at him as well.
If he's going to tank it, it's probably me. I hate animes.
That's fine. No, this film is not good. But don't worry, I expect it for you guys to not like it. That's fine.
On unrelated but related to the Oak film, one thing I forgot to say, Ben, when you said it'd be nice to have the Oak guy from the beginning come back at the end and kind of do some kind of part, and I was just imagining have him doing the Grandpa Simpson scene where he walks in, takes his hat off, and then back out and puts him back on.
That'd be excellent.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Oh god,
Mr. Trick.
Simon, why have you done this to me?
Just because.
Oh, do we have to pay to watch it?
Wait, no. Sorry, what?
It really looks great.
Wait, who? Me or Rob?
Oh no, what did Rob? I think I heard Rob. I don't know if it crackled or not.
Yeah, the Rob said something. He's excited, I think.
Oh yeah, that is was.
He's yes.
Oh,
But
hang
yeah.
on, is that better?
I'm excited.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because you sound like you have a congested nose. I was like, well, I can hear you.
Cool. Well, glad we ironed that out.
Okay. Either way, it's on Amazon. Or we still got I still got my Crunchyroll subscription.
Ooh.
Like if I'm not sure if you guys still have it, but if not, then I'll just send it to you guys later.
I'm still lurking on your Crunchyroll, so don't worry.
Okay, cool.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you hear the excitement there? Did you hear the excitement in her voice? That's not going to last.
It's not a film I recommend to people to watch too much. It's just it's just the world is pretty messed up. It's would I say it's my film that's very similar to Emmanuel's Antichrist? Kind of.
Oh no.
This is
Is it Western Tokyo God Police?
It's a pretty fucked up film, and I think everyone who watches it go, why did you choose this film? Because other people have showed me this, and I was like, it's pretty messed up, yeah. And they just
Are they going to go, hey Simon, why'd you pick this film? Or are we going to grab you by the lapels and go, wow, hey,
Why'd you?
Latter than former, I think is the correct phrase of that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I see.
What about Boa versus Python? Is it worse than that?
Well, that's a different type of bad, so it's kind of it's bad functionally, and this is bad. No, this functionally, this works as a film. It's just bad as in the concept or the context.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because Boa vs. Python is Shark Boy and Other Girl, I would say. It's kind of it's good for who wants to watch these a bad B movie sci-fi film, but it's just very badly made, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like fishing.
What?
No, this is definitely not like fishing. Holy shit.
Like what? What you say?
Fishing.
Yeah, fishing.
Man. It was so long ago, Simon.
Okay, this is the first one.
Yeah, okay.
He said Predator was like fishing. I don't remember. I kept it forever. And now everyone's forgotten.
Because like onions, predators, fishing.
Predators like fishing.
Cool. Yeah.
Right, yeah, because actually I won't go into it. Okay, yeah, we'll end it there. Yeah, so yeah, that's my pick, and I don't expect you guys to enjoy it.
Cool.
Can't wait.
So there's actually, and this is the more. Actually, no. I guess I could explain it. I don't know. Are we still recording? Are we stop recording?
Oh, I could stop recording.
She just got this. I'm not recording the whole time.